Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we will be discussing Las Cotorras from Sweet Bloom. It's a washed Mexican coffee, Las Cotorras from Chiapas. And here's the bag. And of course I have my coffee brewed. I can take a quick sip. Alright, so this coffee right here, it comes from my shipment in which I ordered the Nicaragua and then the two Mexicos. Of course, the other one being a Oaxaca, this right here, the Chiapas, which is that's the more common Mexican coffee growing region. And I believe these are the first two Mexican coffees Sweet Bloom has ever come out with, so I was super excited. It's not often you see coffee roasters like Sweet Bloom or Onyx, the top tier coffee roasters, using places like Mexico, so that's why it was such a big deal when they first came out. Well, I've made it obvious on here that I've been on the hunt for a quality in Mexico for a very long time, so I was super excited to try this, and let's go ahead and talk about it. So the first day I tried this one was day 6, so it was the last of the 3 coffees I'd actually tried. And what I was getting on day 6, very early into it, was a chocolate marshmallow fluff. That's the best way I could describe it. But it was kind of cooling down to a nice bit of tangerine, and that's a common trend with this coffee. I tried it the next day as well, more of a chocolate milkshake flavor with a notable bit of nuttiness, kind of peanutty, and it was still pretty sweet. And again, with the other coffees I'm reviewing from Sweet Bloom, especially in this batch, they all came out with that consistent theme of very sweet. And I have to take another sip because it's still very sweet. Alright, day 10, still very chocolatey, and more so fruits were coming through at this time. And it was at day 11 that I made my tasting wheel. And day 11 it was insanely vibrant, and it was almost a smoky milk chocolate. There was a lot of sugar sweetness, and I think the best way to describe the coffee on that day was very reminiscent and similar to a Tootsie Roll. And what's funny is, with my Nicaragua, it seems to kind of taper off towards day 15. This is day 15 for this coffee as well, and it hasn't quite tapered off as much. I get a lot more of the kind of subtle acidic fruits here, like I get a little bit more of that tangerine coming through. And the chocolate may have died down just the tiniest bit, but it's still a very strong milk chocolate. Alright, this time I'll go ahead and put up my tasting wheel. And what I noted from that is obviously the sweetness again. And then the thing that's most prominent here is the chocolate. This has to be one of the most chocolatey coffees I've ever had. And I think I attribute that to it having tasted so much like various chocolate products, and so similar to all of them that there was no way I couldn't give it the peak chocolatiness. This is definitely probably one of the most chocolatiest coffees I've ever had in my entire life. Kind of smoky still. I was surprised by that. Tiny bit acidic, tiny bit salty, and there were definitely some citrus fruits coming through throughout the entire life of this coffee. Body, a little like average for what I kind of would have expected from Mexico, and not the cleanest cup of coffee. You know, pretty much no berry fruits, although at this time I might be able to taste just the tiniest bit of grape, definitely not the most prominent thing that's coming from this coffee. So there's actually a lot to talk about when thinking about this coffee. I think the main thing to say is Sweet Bloom lived up to the expectation for Mexico. Again, I've actually spoken recently with some baristas and some coffee shop owners that have just flat out said Mexicos aren't good. For the most part, you don't get good Mexicos. That being said, this and the other Mexico from Sweet Bloom, they're both, I can easily put them at the 1 and 2 best Mexicos I've ever had. Don't exactly know which order. I mean, there's going to be my ranking blind taste test that's going to involve both of those Mexicos. But it's nice to see that if you do get your hands on a really good Mexico from a really prominent coffee roaster, there's potential there and it will turn out great. And I would love to see if maybe another very notable and prominent coffee roaster also threw Mexico in here. The type of people I suggest this to, very easy. People that like chocolate. If you really like chocolate, I think you'll really like this coffee. I think some other people I've discussed this coffee with seem to be impressed by it as well. And I think To be fair, it is one of those expectation things, knowing it's a Mexico going into it, so expectations are a little lower. But the fact that it still exceeds that kind of low expectation, and it still carries that name of Sweet Bloom, and it's very good just overall, that says a lot. People kind of looking to find these good Mexicos, I suggest this more than I suggest either any of the ceremony coffees I've had or any of the Mexicos I think I've previously reviewed on my channel. Both of these turned out to be pretty nice, and this one right here, most specifically, very prominent on the chocolatiness. So I'm just going to leave it right there for that. And if you like this video, like, subscribe. If you tried this coffee, definitely comment and let me know what you thought of it as well. So this right here has been a review of the Las Cotorras Mexico, washed Mexico from Sweet Bloom. Thank you for watching.